Was anyone else uncomfortable during the 3 and 8 ball sex scene? Okay, I'm gonna keep this short because I wasn't planning on making this video and I'm gonna be very busy for the next, like, all of 2025. I just watched Teapot 20 and it did something I really didn't expect. It was good. It felt less like a Teapot episode and more like exposition dump the episode, especially once we leave 2009. That's another one for the pile. Anyway, I won't be talking about my opinion on the episode much. I think I'll save that for another time. But until then, let's talk lore. You can kind of treat this as a part 2 to my original timeline video, except I already planned on making a much bigger part 2 later, so I guess consider this part 1.5. See, I used a decimal. That's like a reference to the episode. The episode starts in 2009, more specifically, the very beginning of X finds out his value. Now, something interesting is that Teapot 20 makes it abundantly clear that the original X finds out his value video is not canon. The most obvious indicator for this is the lack of shitty animation. Algebrailians in 2009 look exactly the same as they do in 2025. This means that the art style shifts are either exclusive to Earth or just don't affect the algebra planet. Something else that I'm not sure if anyone else picked up on is that X never actually finds his value here. The episode starts with 4 and X trying to find it, but later on when everyone's playing with the Yoylite, Yoylite, 8 mentions how they could use the power to find X's value, implying that they still don't know what it is. And in between that event and 4 and X leaving the planet, there's absolutely no downtime for them to try to solve for X again. I assume that this was specifically done to show that the original is non-canon. 1 and 3's appearance at the end would really muddle things. That's all well and good, but then, what was Fiery referencing in BFB 17? This is a genuine question I've been thinking about lately. Like, he says that like he knows the context of X finds out his value, but that line of dialogue isn't even canon anymore, so the fuck is wrong with you? Alright, here's a big one that really pissed me off. 2 was around during 2009. 4 has met 2.
I'm killing myself tomorrow.
I'm sure that we all remember the most agonizing moment of March 2020 when 2 jumped down from space and 4 acted like he didn't know them.
Go be over there with the other fans.
But clearly, 4 knows who 2 is, so why does he say this? I'm glad you asked. Let's go back to Teapot 15 when the field debuters first messed with the Yoylite. The very first tampering we see is the Algebrailian planet smashing into Earth and 9 approaching the contestants. The only reason I can think of for 9 being on the algebra planet when he's supposed to be in space is that he must have stayed behind at the playground instead of 6. How this would happen, I'm not sure, because there wasn't timeline tampering before this event that would have messed with the Algebrailians, but I digress. Anyway, in Teapot 15, 9 walks up to the gang and 4 says,
What? Who are you?
There is absolutely no possible way in either the original or altered timeline where 4 wouldn't know who 9 is here. My theory is that 4 just didn't want any of the other numbers messing with this show, and thus tried to brush them off by pretending he didn't know them. Another cool detail that this episode shows us is the purpose of 4's pocket dimension. I'm sure that while watching Teapot 11, most of us were a little confused about some of the things 4 had in there. Like a schoolhouse, that makes sense. A forest, sure. A castle, why though? We know that 3 has been living inside of 4's pocket dimension for 16 years now, and she probably doesn't want to leave. So 4 started making all of these crazy locations as a way to try to make 3 feel better and keep her entertained. Okay, what's next to talk about? How about 2? When the numbers are discussing where the power should go, 4 gives most of it to 2 as they're the most innocent out of all of them. Personally, I think 7's the most innocent, but the majority would disagree. What majority? Why?
64 people!
Of course. 2 didn't ask for all of this power and they probably don't even want it either. In Teapot 2, 2 tells a sneaky link about how they're never able to decide anything for themselves. How so many things in their life were forced onto them, such as the power. After a while, 2 probably decided that he just didn't want all this power anymore. 2 probably saw what 4 was doing and took the opportunity to try to give his power away to someone else. And the reason 2 wanted to do this through a competition show is because the power would go to whoever was worthy of it. Or maybe he was just having fun, I don't know. 2 being the most powerful could also explain why 4 never tried to fight back in BFB 16. It's because he knew he'd lose. But then that begs the question, why does 2 imply that 4's stronger in BFB 30? Quite the conundrum, my friends, quite the conundrum. Oh, I guess I should talk about the Yoylite now. Oh, wait! Pencil gets sent all the way back to not BFDIA 1, but BFDI 1A. Why they played BFDIA 1 in the theaters, I'll never fucking know, but whatever. After Pencil gets sent back, we see that one left her with something similar to the memory machine from TPOT 18. I'm willing to bet that in TPOT 21, or knowing Jack and Jellyfy, TPOT 55, Pencil will be living through the show, messing up and going back over and over again before eventually realizing that she needs to return to the present and help fix things. I'm also hoping that none of Pencil's shenanigans are going to affect the timeline at all. There's already a few things in the present that are different from normal, such as Marker being green and the sky being black. Wait, shouldn't the sky have been black in 1A? Now, if this were any other show, I'd say that TPOT 18 was used to set up the inclusion of the BFB characters again, as well as explaining what these devices do, so when they show up in TPOT 20, the viewers already know how they function and thus don't need to be explained. But this is BFDI. They'd rather screw over 800 movie theater workers than plan their show. Hey, funny clip, huh? I think I've got another one here I can play for you guys.
I'm killing myself.
Wow, maybe one more? Let's just get this over with. In this episode, Yoylite is shown to be the sole reason as to how the numbers have powers. That pisses me off. Yoylite really became this deus ex machina of a plot device. Every cool, interesting mystery that revolved around the Algebralians is now completely dead because, oh, it's just Yoylite. Literally any issue that could happen in the series lore can now be solved with Yoylite. BFDIA 9 grossly misunderstood what BFDIA 7 meant for it to be. And then TPOT 15 horrifically misunderstood what that episode meant for it. And now, it's just like, throw in the towel, it can do anything now. A rock with infinite power. What great writing. Why the f*** is it even named Yoylite if it's from space? That'd be like if someone discovered a new element and called it California. Oh wait, that happened. Yoylite is from Earth. There's no doubt about that. BFDIA 7 very explicitly shows us that with the Yoylite mine. Coiny and Pin go into this mine and they find an entire minecart of this stuff. You know, the material that's supposed to be so powerful and so rare that people would legitimately pay trillions for it? Yeah, an entire 20 cubic feet of it has just been sitting here for presumably decades. And now that we know that Yoylite can give people these insane powers, then how come none of the contestants were able to get anything out of them in BFDIA 17, or TPOT 15 for that matter? Is it because Algebralians are inherently stronger than objects? Probably not, because TPOT 20 shows us that the objects and the numbers aren't really too different. Both are able to get injured fairly easily, and none of the numbers seem to have any unique abilities before they get access to the Yoylite. One was pretty easily able to suck out the power, so how come nothing happened to Coiny when he was running around with a handful of it? There's also the whole thing where Yoylite was very easily manipulated to transcend space and time in TPOT 15. Meanwhile, here, one's like eating it and shit, nothing's happening. And how could a huge chunk like this even leave Earth to begin with? That I actually have an answer for. Maybe. See, this wasn't a simple meteor from space. Looking at TPOT 20, there's a bright light in the sky before Yoylite shoots out of it and lands on the Algebra planet. The light quickly disappears. But when one gets over to where the meteor landed, she looks into the sky and the light appears again. It's almost like someone sent the meteor down for her and then acknowledged her when she found it. Who could have possibly done this? Well, obviously, it couldn't have been any of the numbers. And I doubt anyone on Earth would want to do that, let alone even have the ability to. And who does that leave? You know what would be really funny? I could probably talk about this more, but I think I'll save that for the hour-long review I'll make eventually.
Oh, let's go! That's class!
And when I say eventually, I mean like when TPOT ends. I like TPOT 20 quite a bit though, which was surprising to me. I thought it'd be mediocre, cause that's just such a Jack and Jellyfy thing to do. The worst part about the episode was that every 3 minutes I got 2 15-second unskippable ads. It was pissing me off so much, it actually ruined my viewing experience. This was a 43-minute video, and it took me an hour to finish it. Anyway, I really didn't expect this episode to be a full story episode. After a while, I was thinking that at the end of the episode, one would come down and just fucking eliminate Bottle out of nowhere. Unfortunately, that didn't happen though. But don't worry guys, only a few more months and we can see it happen for real.